So welcome back to another rebuild here on NBA 2K25 Next Gen. And in today's video, we have the Detroit Pistons. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Last season in Detroit was an absolute nightmare. They went 14-68. Yeah, no, you heard me correct. They won 14 out of 82 games. At one point in time, they lost 28 games in a row, which is the longest ever losing streak for one season. It technically ties the 76ers, but that spanned over 2 seasons. This team was absolutely awful. There is not really one bright spot I can pick from this group last year. They had a relatively busy offseason, bringing in some veteran pieces, but it is going to take an absolute miracle for this team to be, I guess, somewhat competitive this year. Now, that's not to say I don't like some of the young players they do have on this team. I think throughout their rebuild that has been going on, basically ever since I've watched basketball, they have certainly been able to construct one of the nicer young cores in the league. That being said, I don't think it is anywhere near some of the top of the top. So we have a lot of work to do today. Before we get into that work, as always, let me know any of the rebuild ideas down below in the comment section. Slowly but surely making our way through all 30 teams. Of course, the end goal being having all 30 completed before the NBA does tip off on October 22nd. So I miss basketball. I'm sure you miss basketball. We have some sort of basketball today here with the Pistons. I'm not sure if it's going to be good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. So Pistons, I feel terrible for you, honestly. It is a disgusting product watching whatever the hell that is you guys have to sit through every single game. So yeah, I'm going to try to help you out today. Let's get into it. We've now found ourselves here at the start of the 2024-25 NBA season. As I did mention, it was a relatively busy offseason in Detroit, and as much as I crapped on them in the intro, I do want to give them a little bit of credit for at least trying. So let's talk about this roster and the way things stand right now. Starting out with the best player on this team, Mr. Cade Cunningham, of course, the #1 overall pick. Just 4 seasons ago, he is 23 years old and 86 overall. This offseason, they handed him $224 million, and while I don't think Cade Cunningham is a $200+ million player, at least not yet, a lot of that is going to be kind of based on potential and possibilities. So I think Cade is great. He is certainly one of the bright spots on this team. I just don't know if I would have handed him that kind of money, but that's also the NBA today. So never going to complain when a player gets a bag. So he's the face of the franchise right now. I need him to continue to develop and be kind of that 1A on this team and kind of take us to the promised land, if you will. You got Marcus Sasser here. He's 24 years old. He's a 74 overall. There is certainly something to work with here. He has developed well in previous 2Ks, and previous 2Ks, yeah, that would only be one, numbnuts, but you understand what I'm saying. I think there is definitely something here with him at 24 years old. Now we head to the shooting guard spot. I was super high on Jaden Ivey coming out of Purdue. I thought he was going to be really, really good in this league, and I don't know if it was the incompetence of Monty Williams that has kind of stunted his development, or maybe he's just not as good as I and many other people thought he was going to be, but I still think there's a lot to unlock inside Jaden Ivey, if you will. So he's only 22. He's a 78 overall. I would definitely like him to be a few overalls higher if I had my way of things, but we're going to have to work on that here today. And unlike the idiots that were running this team just a year ago, I will be starting Jaden Ivey, because why the hell would I not? We head to the shooting guard spot. Tim Hardaway Jr. came over in a trade with the Dallas Mavericks. Yeah, I mean, veteran piece, role player. Sometimes can get a little hot. He's a very streaky player, as I'm sure many of you are aware, but yeah, probably not a long future here today. I actually didn't hate the Malik Beasley signing too much. I thought this was one of those deals that maybe ends up being a nice trade deadline move for them. He'll probably be shipped off to a contender, considering his age, the money he's making, his ability to space the floor. So I actually didn't mind this signing, because I do think they can get some sort of asset in return. Wendell Moore Jr. is 23. He's a 70 overall. There's probably not a lot for us to work with here today, but if he continues to develop, that overall goes up a few. Maybe he's a role player. We head to the small forward spot. Now, Azar Thompson was drafted 1 spot behind his brother last year. Of course, that would be Amen Thompson of the Houston Rockets. We take a look at their numbers from the rookie season. Of course, neither of the Thompson twins are necessarily known for their shooting abilities. We take a look. Points per game, rebounds, and assists. It's not terrible. I think there is something for us to work with here today, and he does develop quite nicely. So he'll be our starting small forward heading into year #1, but we will definitely keep an eye on how things do end up progressing. Simone Fontecchio, I believe, was actually a trade deadline acquisition from the Utah Jazz just a season ago, and they did extend him this offseason. So he's a nice role player at that 76 overall, veteran player at 28 years old, and he's somebody that I do think could have an impact in today's video. Now, Ron Holland was the 5th overall pick. Ron Holland was, at one point potentially going to be the #1 overall pick. Of course, things do end up changing. Many people are not super high in the 2024 draft class. Ron Holland is an incredible athlete. I just have to see how high that overall can go today in 3 years of this video. But only 19 years old. Again, a lot of room for growth. We head to the power forward spot. Let's talk about it. Tobias Harris. Has had an interesting career. I think he was very much maybe underappreciated before he was traded to the 76ers. Obviously had a multi-year tenure there where they ended up deciding to pay him instead of Jimmy Butler, and that obviously ended up being one of the worst decisions in the history of the 76ers franchise. Now, it seemed like there was little to no base. I'll just say there was no interest in the Sixers bringing him back this offseason, and that's honestly wise. I cannot actually believe he got $52 million guaranteed, but he did. And if we're going to talk about Hall of Fame, let's put his agent in the Hall of Fame. I'm pretty sure he's made north of $300 million throughout his career. So Tobias Harris, it's one of those things that looks good on paper. The numbers aren't always terrible, but the pure impact of the player is just, it's never there. So, I see a lot of Sixers fans always telling everybody how bad Tobias Harris is. People just spit numbers back in their face, but there is much more to the story with Tobias Harris than just the numbers. You got Isaiah Stewart. He is locked up long-term, 3 years, $45 million, 23 years old, 76 overall. I think there's a little bit of room for growth there. I'm not sure if he'll ever be any sort of star in this league, but serviceable role player nonetheless. You got Bobby Clinton down here, 21 years old, was a second-round pick out of Sweden this past season. At a 69 overall in 3 seasons, I'm not sure how high that overall will get, but if he continues to develop, maybe he'll find himself a role. And then I am a huge fan of Jalen Duren. If you guys have watched my videos in the past, you're very much aware of that. Only 20 years old, heading into his 3rd season in the league, 13th overall pick back in 2022. I am very excited for his potential in today's video. And I say potential kind of loosely because kind of already see the impact that he does have. So I'm a big Jalen Duren fan. I want that overall to continue to grow. And unlike the Pistons, when the CPU is controlling him, I'm not going to give Jalen Duren up for a bag of peanuts. I'm a very big fan of him. So and then we got Paul Reed, good old B-ball Paul, 25 years old, 75 overall. I believe they technically claimed him off waivers. I'm not sure how long his tenure will be here, but he is here now, and he's a decent backup center option. So we may have 1 or 2 trades before we kick off year 1. Of course, this is not a realistic rebuild, but I'm also not going to try to be competitive in year 1, knowing damn well it's pretty much impossible. So I'll see you guys with our first move. When we were talking about this roster, I mentioned both Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley as pieces that I think the Pistons could look to move at the deadline in real life. Now, here in 2K, we don't really use the trade deadline very often, and I am just going to cut my losses, and I say losses relatively because neither of these players have played a game in Detroit yet, but we're going to go ahead and make a deal here with the Memphis Grizzlies for whatever reason they're interested in giving me their first-round draft pick this year. It is top 3 protected, along with Luke Kennard for Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley. If either of these guys had any sort of, team control moving forward, an extra year guaranteed, maybe I'd hang on to him, but at 32 and 27 years old, I will certainly take the draft pick instead. So that is trade 1 in the books. I honestly don't know how much more we could possibly have. Now, if I have not already made it abundantly clear, we are not trying to be good this season. Our first round pick is technically owned by the New York Knicks, which is technically now owned by the Minnesota Timberwolves, but long story short, it is protected for 1 through 13 this year. Basically covers the entire draft lottery, so if it falls within that range, we will have our draft pick back, which is, of course, my goal considering this roster. It's going to be Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Azar Thompson, Tobias Harris, and Jalen Duren. I don't think there's many surprises there. 1 through 5 bench unit will be led by Luke Kennard. I also realized that Luke Kennard is now back in Detroit, same with Tobias Harris. Isaiah Stewart, he's actually playing the backup center spot. I moved around some positions. You're going to understand why in just a second. Now, I understand, a little bit undersized at 6'9" to be a center, but I can live with it for maybe 1 season. Now, Ron Holland is the reason that I moved around these positions. I understand he's, maybe not a prized once-in-a-generation prospect, but when you suck already and you take a guy number 5 overall, it would be malpractice not to get him in the rotation here for year 1. So he will be playing. You got Marcus Sasser, and then Simone Fontecchio, I actually moved to the backup power forward spot. He only went down 1 overall. So unfortunately, Paul Reed's just not going to play. I know maybe there's some want to actually get him a little bit of run, but if I had to pick just based on potential, I'm going to go with Ron Holland. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'd say I'm excited. That's typically what I say as we head into year 1s, but that would just be a flat-out lie, to be honest with you. So I am prepared. I think that is a better way to kind of go about it. I will see you guys at the end of the first season here in Detroit. I will not lie to you. I was just aimlessly scrolling through Twitter, as I pretty much always do while the seasons are simulating, and for whatever reason, I did not catch the end of it. So my apologies. I do not have a record at the moment. I don't know why 2K took it out of the bottom right corner like they used to have it, but I do not at the moment. I know we were not great. Luka Doncic, your MVP. Reza Shea, Rookie of the Year. Another Thompson, men this time, 6th man. Wemby's your D-Boy. Men Thompson also wins Most Improved. Anthony Edwards. Jason Kidd. It's surprised JB Bickerstaff didn't get it his first season here at the helm in Detroit. Okay, where were we? I'm assuming we can clear the playoffs, and we were dead last, 21-61. It is the worst record in basketball, and maybe we are in the running for Mr. Cooper flag. We will find out very shortly. All right, here are the numbers. Cade Cunningham was pretty good. Of course, I would say the biggest issue, if you will, for Cade has really just been, health, availability, all that fun stuff. He's not a bad player. Again, I don't necessarily think ever that he's a $224 million player, but that is just basketball today. But really good season out of Cade Cunningham. Jaden Ivey does end up being our second leading scorer. I'll take it. It's similar numbers to what he's had in years past. That three-point percentage is just disgusting. And if I'm being honest with you, I can't have my shooting guard shooting 26% from three, especially if he's my second leading scorer. Tobias Harris, Jalen Duren, double-double. I'll take it. Luke Kennard, Thompson, Stewart, Sasser, Holland, and Fontecchio. All right, rebounds per game led by Duren, and assist was actually Jaden Ivey, not Cade Cunningham. So we are not in the playoffs. We're not going to be competing here, and we are going to sim through. Year one, it is going to be Luka and the Mavericks against Brunson and the New York Knicks, and it is the Dallas Mavericks winning it all, and Luka a 39-point, damn near triple-double. He is your finals MVP. Okay. It is time for the offseason. This is obviously the biggest moment of the video for us so far. LeBron does not actually end up retiring, which is interesting. I feel like I always see him retire at the end of year one. Russ, CP3, and Lowry all getting their jerseys retired. And now, here we go. Here goes nothing. Now, our pick, actually, technically, it says it's owned by the Rockets. It's not true. If it's not protected in here, I'm going to take it back. It's supposed to be protected 1 through 13. And then we're also projecting the number 11 overall pick from Memphis. Of course, you guys remember the one trade we made to kick this video off, and we'll have that pick. Okay, our pick is actually number 4. That sucks. And then we're also at number 11 via Memphis. You know what? At least it wasn't 5, because the Pistons have sucked for a while, had the worst record in the league multiple seasons now, and end up with basically the 5th overall pick every single year. So I can take moving up 1 spot. Okay, JB Bickerstaff obviously brought on after the Pistons paid a whole lot of money to hire Monty Williams. It did not end up working out. They canned him, brought in JB Bickerstaff. Those ratings are okay, and considering the team he's working with, I'm not exactly expecting a miracle. So he'll stay on for now. We have the 4th overall pick, 11th overall pick, 3 second-round picks as well. I think there is maybe a trade I do want to make. Now, the Utah Jazz currently own the number 3 overall selection. We obviously have number 4, and I'd like to see if we can maybe swap these picks, move up 1 spot, and you'll see why in just a second. So these are 2 of the second-round picks we have this year. What? Okay, that's completely cool with me. You'll see why I want to do this. We now have 3 and 11. I'm going to actually use both selections. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to go ahead and I want to guarantee myself one of the top 3 prospects. Whether that be Cooper Flag, Ace Bailey, or Dylan Harper, I want to get one of these 3, no questions asked. Certainly there was a possibility one of them would have slipped to 4. I'm not going to take that risk, and considering what we gave up, not that big of a deal. So let's sim all the way up to number 3. Let's see who goes in the top 2. It was Ace Bailey and Cooper Flag, as expected, which means we're going to go ahead and draft Dylan Harper. Could use a shooting guard. Honestly, I'm pretty high on Jaden Ivey. You guys know that, but after shooting 26% from beyond the arc, he's not exactly giving me immense confidence as he heads into his 4th year. So Dylan Harper is going to be our guy, 6'5" out of Rutgers. I think he's going to be very good for a very long time. And then the 11th overall pick as well. A couple different options here. Could go, honestly, double shooting guard. And the only reason I say this is because with Luke Kennard entering kind of unrestricted free agency, probably not bringing him back, maybe a potential Jaden Ivey trade on the horizon, we could use another backup shooting guard. So between Hugo Gonzalez, Jalil Bethea, I'm not really sure who's the better option. I don't think I've ever really drafted Hugo Gonzalez, so sure, welcome to the team. 6'6" out of Spain. I don't really know. So welcome to the team. Excited to have you here. So 79 and 76 overall, respectively. Why? This is what's wrong with 2K. You're telling me I wouldn't pick up a $6.5 million team option on a 21-year-old center who's probably the second best player on this team right now? Yeah, okay. I'm bringing back everybody. This is not a realistic rebuild. All of these guys can be trade pieces, if not anything else. Okay, free agency is here. Do we have bird rights on anybody? Yeah, Luke Kennard, but we have, 3 guys all capable of playing the shooting guard spot. We're going to let him walk. We are going to be making some upgrades because I would like to be, a remotely competitive product in year 2. Oh my God. Blockbuster trade has been completed, and it lands us an absolute star in Zion Williamson. I understand we gave up a lot to land him, but it is so worth it. We need another guy who can help carry this team with Cade Cunningham, and he is certainly going to be that, especially because we don't play with injuries on. Now, here's what we gave up. It's Tobias Harris, Jaden Ivey, Paul Reed, Bobby Klintman, and 2 first-round picks, one in 2027, one in 2028. Both of those draft picks are unprotected, but quite honestly, we are going to be good by that point anyways. It won't really matter. So I am pumped to have Zion here. He is obviously a game-changing player, another former number 1 overall pick, and my God, this is a beautiful addition to this team. So him and Jalen Duren are going to team up in our front court. It's still going to be Thompson. I'm going to still let Holland be the backup. We obviously just drafted Dylan Harper, drafted Hugo Gonzalez. They'll be our 2 shooting guards. And yeah, I think at this point, there's not really much else to do. I mean, do I want to maybe consider an upgrade somewhere, maybe our backup power forward? Actually, I wouldn't mind doing that because Fontecchio, I believe, will actually be entering unrestricted free agency after this year. So I would be remiss, I would say, if I didn't consider some offers. So let's look some potentially. Fontecchio, Drew Eubanks. Any power forwards out there that could be worth maybe taking a flyer on? Don't really need. Oh, Gigi Jackson? Wow. Why is he here? I also see Jonathan Isaac again, a first-round draft pick. Actually wouldn't be bad. But Gigi Jackson really just sitting here? Pretty sure his overall will actually remain the same if I move him to the power forward. So you know what? Fuck it. Why would I not pick up Gigi Jackson? I'm not really sure what the Memphis... It's the second dumb trade the Grizzlies have made with us throughout this video. He goes down a couple overalls. That is not the end of the world, in my opinion. All right, welcome to the team, Gigi Jackson. Super pumped to have him here. I believe we have now finalized the way this rotation is going to work. I will actually hang on to John Conchar because he has 2 years, but I know I picked up the option on Wendell Moore Jr., so I'll try to not be super cheesy with all this. So let's just do... Oh, man. Okay. Wow. For such a smart franchise, what a hilariously dumb trade. I will see you guys at the start of year 2. Now, as we approach the start of year 2, I think this lineup would have Pistons fans feeling something they probably haven't felt in quite some time, and that would just be excitement. General overall buzz about your basketball team, knowing there's a potential path for them to make the playoffs. Now, I'm not assuming we're going to be a true contender, but anything is possible. It is Cade Cunningham, Dylan Harper, Azar Thompson, Zion Williamson, who I still cannot believe we got, and Jalen Duren as your 1 through 5. I'd say we also improved the bench unit. Marcus Sasser taking over 6-man responsibilities. Of course, landed Gigi Jackson in another deal with the Memphis Grizzlies. Drafted Hugo Gonzalez, still have Ron Holland, and then Isaiah Stewart. So, again, I'm not necessarily saying we're up there with the top of the top in the East, but we are in a 10,000 times better position than we were just a season ago. Another note, I will let you know, our pick is protected 1 through 11 this year. I am hoping that we do not have to actually take it back, though. So I will see you guys at the end of year number 2. I am telling you, this game finds a new way to surprise me every single day. What would you predict? Like, just what would you think the record is for this team? Just say it in your head right now. 45 wins, maybe 47, something like that. I don't think many of you would have said 64. 64 and 18. That is the record. I have had legitimate God squads not even sniff 60 wins, but this is the collection of talent that gets me 60. Okay, you know what? When 2K is nice to me, I don't complain. Luka wins another MVP. Ace Bailey is your Rookie of the Year. Amen Thompson, 6th man. Victor Wembanyama. Trey Mann, most improved. That is what a most improved player looks like. Not number 1 overall picks, those are the numbers and the statistics and the jumps that you should see in a guy who is actually qualified to win most improved player. Steph Curry, clutch player of the year, and Jason Kidd. Really? Really? A lot of Dallas Mavericks bias in this game, let me just tell you that. We are the 1 seed here, and not only are we the 1 seed, we are the clear-cut best team in the East. 15 games up on the 2 seed. Best record in basketball. Again, just did not see that coming whatsoever, but I will take it. Certainly will. Zion Williamson was absolutely fantastic for us. Cade Cunningham emerging quite nicely in his number 2 role. Dylan Harper had a really strong rookie campaign. Jalen Duren, Marcus Sasser, Gigi Jackson. So we had 6 guys in double digits in terms of points per game. Got Azar Thompson, Hugo Gonzalez, Isaiah Stewart, and Ron Holland. Rebounding department, we were led by Jalen Duren, and assists was Dylan Harper. Okay. I was not assuming that we would be facing a play-in team here in year 2, but we are. It is Giannis, Dame, and the rest of the Milwaukee Bucks. Looks like they've lost out on Chris Middleton, and although they obviously have the best player in the series, I think we're a better team. I genuinely do. So, quick 2-0 lead for us here. We win game 3 as well, and we just ran the Bucks out of their own building. Now we're moving on to the defending Eastern Conference champion New York Knicks. Of course, they made the big trade. Karl Anthony Towns is here. Still have Josh Hart coming off the bench, D'Anthony Melton, Cam Reddish. This is a talented team, no matter which way you want to show it. So up 3-1, they won game 1, we win 4 straight. How about a gentleman's sweep in the Eastern Conference semis. And as we approach the Eastern Conference Finals, we have the Cavaliers. Of course, we know this core very, very well. Two extremely talented big men. A young, not young really, Donovan Mitchell's not young anymore. A star shooting guard in Donovan Mitchell and a point guard that's looking to get back on track. And Garland also brought in Malcolm Brogdon, Taurean Prince. So this is not, a walk in the park, even though they are a 6 seed. That kind of goes without being said. We tie the series up at 2-2, go up 3-2, and we are in, what the fuck? My God, he may be in GOAT conversations. Zion Williamson. All right, well, us and the Warriors here in the finals. Was not expecting this, but here we are. I'm just curious. Was Steph 38 points per game throughout the playoffs so far? That's not the conference finals. That is throughout the playoffs. Damn near 40 years old. Insanity. Well, I was not expecting to be here. This would be a completed worst to first challenge. That's what this would be. I'm just shocked. Let me tell you, some of these teams I put together here in 2K surprised me in... Oh, shit. I didn't mean to... Fuck. I'll get gameplay next. Oh, my God. That got way close. Look at that fourth quarter. It's disgusting. Some of these teams that I put together in 2K always end up doing the exact opposite of what I expect them to. And I guess that's the point of the videos. But championship in year 2. And technically, that is a completed worst to first challenge. We were the worst team in the league last year. Obviously, the best team this year. I don't know. I do not know. I will take it, though, as we head into the next offseason. LeBron James. Oh, my God. Al Horford, my fucking GOAT, signing with the Lakers. Why? You're going to the ops? I mean, come on, man. Come on, man. Popovich also calling it a career. Hall of Fame, LeBron and Harden. Jersey retirements. Klay Thompson there as well. All right. Well, you obviously are not going to ever pick this year because it's going to be outside the top 11, but that is completely fine by me. There is a look at your draft lottery and the rest of the order. We'll just head to staff signing. Of course, JB Bickerstaff no longer on the hot seat whatsoever. Not that he ever really was, considering the team that he had, but I'm happy. We have no draft picks this year. Completely cool with me. And then in terms of any major moves, I don't really know if there are many crazy things we're going to do. So obviously going to pay Jalen Duren. He wants about $35 million annually. That is cool with me. He is very much worth it. $205 million. Welcome back to the team. All right, let's take a look at the full roster. There may be one or two moves we consider, but honestly, with the way things are right now, I actually don't really know. Going to look to make a little upgrade at our backup center spot as we head into the third and final season. There's not really a rhyme or reason. We're just doing it because I don't like leaving teams exactly identical year over year. So let's say we make a trade here. Another deal with the Memphis Grizzlies. Maybe they'll give us Jakob Poeltl. I think he'd be a little bit of an upgrade over Stewart. And yeah, that's fine by me. All right, there's going to be no other major changes because, again, why would there be? And I'll just see you guys at the start of the final regular season. Last season was clearly a little bit of a shock to the system for everybody. This was a team that was coming off another just dreadful season, ended up making a few major changes, of course went on to have basically the season of their lives, winning 64 games and hosting the Larry O'Brien Trophy to wrap the season up. This offseason, we didn't really do anything crazy. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Here's how it's going to look. It is Cade Cunningham, Dylan Harper, Azar Thompson, Zion Williamson, and Jalen Duren as your 1 through 5. Bench unit will now be led by Hugo Gonzalez as he is up to an 81. Brought in Jakob Poeltl as the one change we did make. Got Ron Holland here. Got Marcus Sasser and G.G. Jackson. I feel bad, like Jackson and Sasser's minutes have gone down. I guess rather significantly, but everybody else is just developing, I guess, a little bit faster. So that is where we're at. I am very much hopeful we will be in the mix for the number 1 seed once again, and hopefully a second straight championship. I'll see you guys at the end of the final regular season. This time around, it was not only a historic season in Pistons history, it was a historic season in basketball history. 76-6. Another day, another surprise. I'll take it. Obviously, never going to complain about this, but this has been a weird video so far, to say the least. Halliburton's your MVP. AJ DeBansa, your Rookie of the Year. Also wins 6th man. Wemby wins DPOY. Devin Carter, Most Improved. Ant, your Clutch Player of the Year. And finally, putting some respect on our head coach's name here with JB Bickerstaff getting the award. Okay, it is time for another, hopefully very long, very successful playoff run. Clearly going to be the number 1 seed in all of basketball. And as we take a look at the numbers, let's see who did what. Zion ends up going to the number 2 option. Cade goes to the number 1. Who really cares? And here's a look at the rest of the numbers if you would like to pause. Boards led by Duren. Assists led by Dylan Harper. Okay. First round, us and the Cavs. We obviously faced this team in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. It doesn't look like there's a lot of major changes. Nice upgrade here coming off the bench with Jeremy Sohan, but I think we're a lot better. I mean, if you win 76 games, I'd like to think you're better than the team you're facing in round 1. They do win game 4, but we end up winning the series in 5. Now we move on to the Charlotte Hornets. LaMelo, Gary Trent Jr., Brandon Miller, T. John Salon, Rudy Gobert ends up in Charlotte. You should see that a lot in 2K24. Got Ace Bailey coming off the bench for whatever reason. Okay. Nick Smith Jr. Here goes nothing in these semis. Quick 2-0 lead for the boys here in Detroit. We go up 3-0, and we sweep. Now, we are facing the 7-seed Toronto Raptors. I like Scotty. I think Scotty's going to have another really good year this season. But Desmond Bane now here, Kadeem Malik, but there's just not a chance. All right, now Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks meet us in the finals. We know how much 2K does like Dallas. They have replaced Kyrie Irving with Jalen Green. Okay, getting a little younger. Dante Exum, Caleb Martin. You have so many good big men on the team, and you move on for Wendell Carter Jr. Not to say Wendell's not a solid player. He's a nice role player in the NBA, but come on, man. All right, here is the NBA Finals. Looking to go back-to-back. Quick 2-0 lead for us. Up 2-1, up 3-1, and as promised, I will try to get some gameplay here because I accidentally hit sim last season. So, oh, wow, maybe we're not winning this game. Wow, oh, my God. Not a good start to Game 5. Okay, well, no, they're going to win this one. And as we are now heading back to Dallas to potentially close them out, I'd like this team to just lock it in a little bit because I don't want to do Game 7. Oh, my God. I don't like Game 7s. Oh, Pistons, come on. Come on. Don't do this to me. No. Not going to happen. All right, well, we are now do or die, both sides, heading back here to Detroit, and I would just like to win on our home floor and not have to stress out about this too much. Thank you. Good start. Now, can we please just not blow this? Okay, we should be good. Hypothetically, a 30-point lead should be enough for my really shitty 2K skills. We scored 47 points in the first quarter. Oh my God. With just under 4 minutes to go here in Game 7, we are on the verge of going back-to-back. We have had a very successful video so far, way more successful than I imagined when I initially kicked this one off. You know, there's a reason I love doing the 5-year rebuilds with the teams that are, you know, I would say currently rebuilding in real life. It's because they have a lot of young talent. I like to wait and see how a lot of the guys progress. But I feel like the way we kind of went about this video, we really didn't have to force the issue too much. I mean, we made a lot of, you know, big changes, including the Zion Williamson edition. The Zion Williamson edition last offseason, or well, 2 off seasons ago now, but that was really it for like major changes. Other than that, we kind of just held this team intact. Zion, give me the, oh my God, he goes between the legs. We kind of just held the young core intact, obviously drafted Dylan Harper, moved on from Jaden Ivey, but the Zion trade really changed everything for this team. And I'm not saying something like that could potentially happen in real life because I don't think there's a chance the Pelicans trade Zion, at least in the near future, you know, potentially stays healthy. I think he's the face of their franchise moving forward. But even somebody who not maybe as good as Zion Williamson, oh, they did keep Derek Lively, but just like swing for a big name because that's what you should do when you're a team like the Pistons and have obviously had really high picks and really shitty seasons for a long time now. You know, some star is going to ask out at some point, and maybe when the core young guys of your team like Cade, like Duren, Thompson, all these guys have kind of glued together a little bit, start showing some competitive games out there, that's when you maybe trade some of the other pieces and go out and get a big name. So, you know, I'm just saying, thinking of a formula for this team who has obviously not, you know, been a real competitive product in a long time. You know, I cannot imagine how much it must suck to be a Pistons fan. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I know as a Celtics fan, but it is probably not enjoyable. And honestly, I hope you guys end up doing, you know, something positive remotely soon, because I don't know how much longer I could take 14 win seasons, 28 game losing streaks. It's legitimately comical. Like I remember the Wingstop last year during the Pistons losing streak, and it was something I looked forward to every time the Pistons played because it was hilarious. But oh my God, good night. Final playoff run for us comes to an end. We take down the Dallas Mavericks in 7 games, and Cade Cunningham is your finals MVP. Such a beautiful way to cap off this video. Such an interesting, fascinating rebuild. You know, when I have videos like this, they're always such a blessing because, again, I know I've said it a few times now, I put together legitimate God squads with like 4 Hall of Famers. I barely crack 50 wins and I get bounced in round 2, and it makes me want to legitimately throw my PlayStation out the fucking window. So videos like this are a nice change of pace, a breath of fresh air, if you will. And 2K, if you can listen to me right now, I encourage stuff like this every day, especially as we head into some of the rebuilds with the bad teams, which I know a lot of you have been asking for, hence, you know, why we're doing the Pistons today. So Pistons fans, I know this is obviously, you know, a different world, a different reality, but I hope just for this, you know, 20 some odd minutes of this video, I made you happy and took you to a better place. So this one was very fun. I genuinely enjoyed this rebuild. Certainly one of my favorites of 2K25 so far, and I hope you guys did as well. Let me know any other rebuild ideas down below in the comment section. As I mentioned, trying to get through all 30 teams by October 22nd. So that's it for me. As always, thanks so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll catch you guys all in the next one.